This lesson is section 2.2, Logic. Our learning objective for today will be to write and determine truth values of conjunctions, disjunctions, and negations. So first let's talk the basics. Statement. A statement is a sentence that is true or false. We will represent statements using letters such as P or Q. Here's some examples. Statement P says a rectangle is a quadrilateral. So it's just any sentence you can think of. Q says a rectangle is convex. Now truth value is going to say whether the statements are true or false. So if we were going to assign a truth value to these two statements, they would both be true. A rectangle is a quadrilateral because it has 4 sides, and a rectangle is convex, which means it doesn't cave in. So both of these would have a truth value of true. Next, let's talk about negation. Negation is giving a statement the opposite meaning and opposite truth value. The notation for this will either say not P, or this little symbol right here means not, and then P. Now P could be Q, R, S. This letter P is just representing the statement. So here's our example. P, a rectangle is a quadrilateral. If I was going to do the negation of P, I would insert the word not to negate it. So not P is going to be a rectangle is not a quadrilateral. Conjunction. Compound statement joined by the word and. So the notation for conjunction will be P and Q. It will say the word and, or we'll have this symbol right here, which looks like an upside down V, that resembles and. A conjunction is true only when both statements are true. So notice how we have 2 statements in each of these. Well, both of them have to be true for the whole thing to be true. So here's our example. A rectangle is a quadrilateral and a rectangle is convex. So our 2 statements, to write the conjunction, all you have to do is put the word and between the 2. A rectangle is a quadrilateral and a rectangle is convex. Now for the truth value, since both of these are true statements, the truth value is true. Find the truth value of each conjunction. So here we have 3 statements, P, Q, and R. The first one says the figure is a triangle. Well, that's true. The second statement says the figure has 2 congruent sides. That's true because of the notation. And the last one says the figure has 3 acute angles. Well, I can tell that these 2 are acute because they're less than 90 degrees, but this is not an acute angle, it's a right angle, so the last statement is false. So I need to write the conjunction and then determine the truth value. So for P and R, my conjunction is going to be the figure is a triangle and the figure has 3 acute angles. P is true, but R is false, so the whole conjunction is false. Remember, they both have to be true for conjunctions to be true. Now let's figure out Q and not R. That's going to say the figure has 2 congruent sides and the figure does not have 3 acute angles. Since we did the negation of R, this is now true and Q is true, which makes the whole thing true. Disjunctions. These are going to be compound statements that use the word or. The notation for this will be that you will see the word or you will see this V in between. Disjunctions are true if one of the statements is true. So they both don't have to be true for this one. Here's our example. Statement P says St. Charles West is in St. Charles. Statement Q says St. Charles High School is not in St. Charles. So P is true and Q is false. Let's go ahead and write the disjunction. When you write the disjunction, all you have to do is put in the word or between the two statements. So St. Charles West is in St. Charles, or St. Charles High School is not in St. Charles. Now for the truth value, since one of the statements is true, the first one, P, that's going to make the whole thing true. Use the following statements to write conjunctions and disjunctions. You should pause the video and try these three on your own first. Alright, so the first one, P or Q. So we're going to put the word or between the two statements. That's going to say, a flower needs sunlight to grow, or trees do not need sunlight to grow. Next one, not Q and not R. So that's going to be inserting the word not into both of these two. Notice that Q already has not. Whenever there's already a not in the statement, you're going to take away the not. So it's like it's canceling out. So your answer is going to be, trees do need sunlight to grow, and streams cannot provide water for wildlife. The last one, we're doing not P or R. This is going to be, a flower does not need sunlight to grow, and streams can provide water for wildlife. Use the following statements to write the truth values of each. So we are not writing the conjunctions and disjunctions, we are just determining the truth value of each of these at the bottom. The easiest way to do this is to first determine the truth value of your three statements. P, a week has 7 days. That's going to be true. Q, there are only 20 hours in a day. That's going to be false. And R, there are 60 minutes in an hour. That's going to be true. Now down here, when we're determining the truth value of the whole thing, remember for ORs, only one has to be true for it to be true, and for ANDs, both have to be true for the whole thing to be true. So for number one, we have P, which is true, and we have not Q, which is going to be true, and it's an OR statement. Since at least one of them is true, the whole thing is true. Next one, Q and R. Well, Q is false and R is true. Since they are both not true, then we're going to have false. So it's false because we had a false and a true, and they both have to be true for ANDs. Next one, not P or not R. Well, not P is going to be false because it's going to be the opposite of this. Not R is going to be false. Since they are both false, the whole thing's going to be false. You need at least one of them to be true for ORs. And the last one, P and Q. Well, P is true and Q is false, so the whole thing is false. That's the end of the lesson. See you in class.